Today on the show, we're going to be talking about my feelings on the character Starfire and her sexuality. A long time ago, like back in November, I did a video on Starfire. And this was back when I couldn't really vocalize what I wanted to say on camera. At the end of the video, I ended up complaining about Starfire in the New 52 and how I didn't think that that was an accurate portrayal of the character, but I couldn't exactly say what I meant properly. With what I said at the end of the video, I made it sound as if Starfire hasn't always been a sexy character. She has always been very linked to sexuality. You cannot deny that. What I was trying to say in my Starfire video was that before the New 52, Starfire didn't intend to be sexy. It was just a thing that happened and she seduced men and didn't mean it whatsoever. In fact, there was a point very early on in the 2003 Teen Titans where Wonder Woman and Starfire were having a fight because Wonder Woman didn't want Wonder Girl to join the Teen Titans, but Starfire felt like Wonder Girl should be able to make her own decisions. The fight evolved and all the sidekicks ended up fighting their mentors, but eventually everything would be resolved. Then, at the end of the fight, Robin says to Superboy, "I can now see what Nightwing sees in Starfire," and Superboy says, "Yeah, hot bod too." Starfire showed off her body a lot, and it's because she didn't understand the human need for clothes. In fact, in the new Teen Titans #2, everyone was going to go swimming and have a bit of a laugh, and keep in mind that this was back in the 80s, so men's swimsuits were small and tight, and women's swimsuits were smaller and tighter. We cut to Starfire and Donna Troy in the changing room, and Starfire's talking to Donna and is all like, "You expect me to wear this tiny bikini? It can't offer any protection. Does it have like any special properties?" And Donna is just like, "Yes, it stops the boys from going insane." And that was an ongoing theme with Starfire. She was sexy and she didn't know it because on her planet what she was doing wasn't considered sexy. Now I know a lot of you at this point are probably thinking of Starfire from the Teen Titans TV show, and I know a handful of you are probably going to comment something like, "Oh, childhood ruined." And that saying is really stupid. If you really enjoy something and you know you loved it in that moment, regardless of what you find out about it in the future, nothing can take that happiness away from you. So you can sleep soundly knowing that information and knowing regardless of what you find out about Starfire in the comics cannot ruin your childhood. Now a lot of you are probably thinking, well, why did they change Starfire for the Teen Titans TV show? Well, they changed all the characters. Rather than having the characters from the comics appear in the TV show, they had archetypes of teenage characters. If you look at Robin in the Teen Titans TV show, he is nothing like any of the Robins from the comics, and that is totally fine. I appreciate the TV show because they were able to take these teenage archetypes but still make them work the regular Teen Titans comic book storylines, which was amazing to see. The Teen Titans TV show was very well done, and it very much respected the source material, which is why I love it. It wasn't a situation like the Young Justice TV show, where they changed a lot of things for the sake of change. Now before all of you leave angry comments, I do want to say that I do like the Young Justice TV show, I just wish it wasn't called Young Justice. And that's because it didn't accurately portray the source material, and it was like they didn't even use the source material. The Young Justice TV show had very little to do with Young Justice. It was a bit like asking for a peanut butter sandwich, but instead you get cheese. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. This video came about because I mentioned in a previous video that I stopped reading Red Hood and the Outlaws very early on, so somebody contacted me through my business email. I had a bit of a back and forth with this person, but they basically said to me, they wanted me to really appreciate Red Hood and the Outlaws for what it is. So could they send me money through PayPal so I could actually get the comics and read them and appreciate them? I was very hesitant to do this at first, but they did specify that I didn't have to make a video about this if I still didn't like Red Hood and the Outlaws. So I was like, you know what, let's go ahead, let's do this. I ended up getting the Red Hood and the Outlaws trade paperbacks, and you know what? It's actually a really good series. I will admit, I don't like how intentional Starfire Sexuality is very early on in the series. I really liked that unintentional sexuality. Also, there are some things that are a little bit inconsistent with Starfire's character. Like, apparently, she had been on Earth for quite a while when the series started, but then a picture of her is posted on the internet and a guy's like, oh my god, a Tamaranian is on Earth. However, she had been hanging around with teenage heroes before Red Hood and the Outlaws, so chances are she would have ended up on the news at some point, so it shouldn't be a surprise that a Tamaranian was on Earth. Now here is something that I love about this series, and it's something that I actually fell for. And I'm usually quite immune to manipulation by other artists, but this time I definitely was manipulated. You, as the reader, are not supposed to like any of these characters when the series first starts out. In fact, they intentionally do things that will annoy you to no end. But the characters also don't like each other. And as they grow on each other, they grow on you. Like, for example, Starfire sleeps with both men on her team because she wants sex. No other reason. She doesn't particularly like Roy or Jason. She just wants sex. Roy, on the other hand, is only there because Starfire and Jason saved his life. In fact, Starfire and Jason are a bit too serious for his liking. And then there is Jason. Jason has been through a lot by the time the series starts. He's been through so much that he doesn't see people as people anymore, he sees them as objects. But as we see these characters evolve, they grow on us and they grow on each other. And it's such a great thing to read. Now this form of writing, while I do think it was very, very good, I do say it was very, very risky because people like me who could learn to love the series might leave too soon. Also, another thing that I thought was very risky about this series was that the New 52 was done to bring in new comic book fans that didn't necessarily know where to start. So people who had watched Young Justice and Teen Titans probably saw Roy Harper and Starfire in the same comic, and probably thought they were going to get a more mature version of Young Justice or Teen Titans, when in fact, there is not a single comic like that. Now, for all of you that don't know, Roy Harper in the comics is nothing like how he was in the Young Justice cartoon. In fact, he wasn't this serious, straight-laced guy that only treated his body as a temple and wanted to be the best hero he could be. Roy in the comics was this stoner rocker dude that used to be a heroin addict, and he loves women. He has had many, many partners. He also has this tattoo that resembles his Navajo heritage, and he used to be part of a rock band. Now, the thing about Red Hood and the Outlaws that I find very interesting is that you have these three characters that you would never normally put together, and it shouldn't work, but it does really, really well. I think that a lot of writers could have potentially messed this series up, but I also feel like if this series didn't have the rocky start that it did, it would have probably been cancelled at the end of the first wave. This series really is young adults meets superheroes meets cowboys, and it's really relatable, but who is it relatable to? I don't want to give a definitive age because everyone has life experiences at a different age, but for me, I personally think the series is more relatable to young adults as opposed to teenagers. And just to clarify, because I know a lot of you think that I'm a teenager, I'm not. I haven't been a teenager for a little while now. When I first read Red Hood and the Outlaws back in 2011, I found these characters totally unrelatable. But now that I've had some more life experiences, I think I relate to these characters a lot more. In fact, this series is so well written that these characters are more real to me than Victoria Beckham and Orlando Bloom. This series is really, really great, and I can't wait till more time passes by so I can get into more detail about this series with all of you. Seriously guys, if you want to read Red Hood and the Outlaws, I have left a mycomicshop.com link down below for you to pick it up. Red Hood is great for young adults, especially ones like me in our early 20s that are just like, how do I adult? What do I do? And we're going through a whole bunch of emotional crap. If you can emulate yourself onto a series and it can help you get through a whole wave of emotional stuff, then I think that is a very, very well written series. It's super effective! Okay guys, that is it for today. What is your opinion on Red Hood and the Outlaws? Please let me know in the comments down below, and also don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more on-character videos, and also don't forget to support the show by checking out my Patreon, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to my gaming channel. My name is Faust, this has been Exploring Comics, and it is super effective.